everyone! Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. What do you got here? Stuart, you already got your video ninja thing all ready to go there? Is that?
Yep.
Oh man, you are quick. So as you can see, Stuart is here. Stuart is on the call with us today. TRI's CTO. That's what you are, right? Something like that. Today is Tuesday, so here, let's put our little date thing over here. Tuesday, 28th of March, so coming up on month end here for March, pretty quick, eh? And Tuesday, of course, we have our TRI CTO on the Afterparty call today, so as you just heard from him, he's ready to go with bells on, ready to rock this thing. So should be a fun episode today. I'm always a little bit conflicted whether I should have trades on while I do these video broadcasts. I mean, I suppose it's inherently dangerous, but I'm at the point now where this trade, this is actually another good working example of the bot. This was the trade setup that I used to actually get funded as a prop trader a million years ago, so it works pretty nicely. One low, two lows, had this pretty little double bottom, in fact actually a triple bottom. Then we had a nice little FU move against the lows, and when I saw that reversal off the FU lows, I was like, hey, I gotta get in on this thing. So you can see this trade's sort of working away, just doing its thing. The bot, and if you've watched any of the shorts in the past, and I don't know if we can somehow incorporate sort of bots as they're working in our video broadcasts and the little shorts and stuff, but this is a good example of the trade actually midstream. So entered in off of the reversal. 25% of this anticipated move is basically where you want to try and get long. If we move half of the anticipated move, you have permission to move your stop to scratch. And then if we move 2/3 of the anticipated move, I have permission to start locking in some profits. And 100% of the anticipated move, you can see I have my AOCO order working. So if the market just runs up into this 74 area, I'm flushed out. See you later. Book the profit and on to the next trade. So as it stands right now, we've had move stop to trailing level hit here. So I'm using the TRI 3 high-low method, kind of the logic behind, actually how you work stops on the bot original entry, but I'm just going to simply use the three most relevant previous lows to work my stops. I don't want to work my stop against the most recent low because, we teach that's actually the noob stop. And a lot of noobs get flushed out if they just quickly move their stop. Like I bet a lot of people would be tempted to move their stop right underneath that low. And they're probably going to flush it and then it'll zip right back up. But, here nor there. Point of the matter here is, in fact, actually 3 high low. We could probably go 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to move my stop up against that double bottom now. So worst case scenario on this setup, and who knows what happens. I will get flushed at a nice little gain on the trade, but ideally I'd like to take a nice C note or thereabouts out of the market, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it was kind of interesting. Do you actually do these videos with positions on? Can you handle the stress of having an active trade working? And the good part about it, of course, is I shouldn't lose any money on this setup. So, it's just slow and steady wins the race, business as usual. And now, as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3 serious lows here to work with. So I'll work my stop against these lows. And if I get flushed, I get flushed. So anyway. All right. That's sort of what I do sort of right out of the gate first thing every morning. In fact, we were going to do a boot camp this spring. Didn't really see it. And, given the market state, I guess it makes sense. But this is basically what I would be teaching in the boot camp. How do you set yourself up for trades? As you can see, I did take a gold trade there earlier this morning. So I'm in the crude oil. We'll see how that goes. Just logging how things are going. Daily checklists. I have to get up in the morning. I have to ask myself, how am I doing? How's my computer doing? Did I get enough sleep? Any major econs? And I actually do kind of like this. get into the habit, talking to you and the public as well. I think this works nicely. Just what the heck's going on in the world today. By the time we get around to 9 o'clock, of course, the Europeans have been run out of the market. So now we're sort of fully into the North American session. Sometimes you see a pivot right around that euro close. And I think generally the message here probably hasn't changed a hell of a lot. What's the scuttlebutt? And now I suppose we're supposed to be happy. The fact that the housing market is rising the least since 2019. Prices are still rising. What the heck's going on here? But nonetheless, we've talked lots about this. The houses now have been securitized. Actually we spent like generations getting housing out of the securities business because everybody needs a home to live in. But thank you very much, central bankers. Banksters, if you will, they've gone and securitized our houses again. So my hunch is the end result of all this, which I don't think happens for another maybe 10, 15 years, but the end result of this is we're going to go back to Hoovervilles when the whole damn thing collapses again. But for the time being, I guess enjoy the insanity. Right now, what I would say is the most dangerous part of the market is not the United States of America. I think on balance, the U.S. has got sort of the wind at its back for the next 10, 15 years. And it's fascinating to listen to people in social media and stuff talk about how horrible the U.S. dollar. One thing that bugs you is when you start, and I went on a rant about it over I don't know whether it was on the weekend or was yesterday's show. When you have like journalists now starting to come out and make commentary about economic policy and where's the U.S. dollar going and all that kind of stuff. I mean, journalists. They're journalists because they're journalists. They're not traders. It just drives it crazy. But anyway, so clearly somebody has given journalists, and especially CNN, they are horrible. I mean, I think literally they probably go in the morning and they were literally given talking notes by the higher ups. You must say this, you must say that on a daily basis. It's quite remarkable, really. We put together this fun website, and I have to say, like we said, we have CTO on the call here later on today, so we'll check in with him on how site development's going. But I have to say, this website's absolutely beautiful. But one of the functions we have here on the dashboard is a newsfeed, and so I've just been watching CNN's. I've tried to throw like all the major sources up here. Just been watching them, and they are stunningly biased. I mean, you'd almost have to ask, is there some sort of moral code that these news, quote unquote, agencies should try and follow to report the news? And these guys would fail at it just 100%. It's stunning how biased they are. But anyway, the whole reason of having a whole bunch of news sources on here is I want to just sort of get a feel for what the sentiment out in the world is and what the headlines are. I do have a bunch of different sources on here. But anyway, it's kind of funny looking at this funny CNN. I mean, I suppose if we're going to talk news, it's a bit tragic that we just keep hearing about these damn murders down in the States with guns and in schools and stuff. I suppose the one good thing is that the gunman was killed. I get the feeling that a lot of these people that are going and doing these shootings, they're pseudo committing suicide. I don't think they really have any intention to live beyond this event. And in fact, this guy even sent a note saying something really, really bad is about to happen, which is so tragic. So it's like I in a weird sort of way, I think these are actually like a cry for help. But the banksters don't give a fuck about that. They're just gonna keep making our lives horrible and really stressed out. No family members at home. Everybody has to work and stuff, just to make sure that the banksters get their Vic, right? I think that's the term. Anyway, so you read the news and Jesus, it's tough to swallow. Interesting. FTX guys getting more charges thrown at them. It'd be really interesting to see what the end result of this is. I mean, it'd be fascinating to see whether he gets painted with the same kind of brushes like Albrecht. I think that was his name. the Silk Road guy. I mean, basically, he's got like 20 life year sentences. He's never getting out of jail. So anyway, that's sort of crypto stuff. Chris was telling me there's some sort of crypto king or something in Canada, which is a bit of an oxymoron. But he was paraded around all over southern Ontario, and as a hostage by abductors and all that. So we've got that, and of course, Mr. CZ, I think, has been formally. I don't know whether indicted is the right word, but lots of FUD flying around CZ and Binance, and what the heck's going to happen there. So definitely not a lack of news in the crypto space. The only problem here is that I get the impression that the market was bid up, and unfortunately, the public, they don't really know what they're doing in this space, and so they kind of think, okay, it's a brand new bull market, away we go. This is like 28,000 and this is 15,000. So that's a pretty darn big move. It doesn't look like much on the chart, but that's like a 50-60% rally. And even more than that, maybe like 70-80% rally. Do we carve out some sort of empire top here on the corn? Only time will tell. You can see the week is starting off. Obviously, this past week, that's that doji. And that's really the conversation about how does this is the doji zoomed in. So how does this play out? This does look very bearish, ABCD-ish, bearish bot-ish. And really what I've said to everybody is I don't think you can really make a conclusion about which way we're going to go, because this might be just an FU move. Then they bottom this thing and take it off to the upside. But geez, all the rhetoric you hear coming out of the public with Getzler and all that, man, it's tough to make the bullish case in crypto right now. I'll tell you that much by crackers. One part of the crypto market, though, that's really surprising me are the Schult coins. And it was funny, last Wednesday, of course, we had Paul. He put out like public messages. As soon as you people in the public start getting excited about crypto, I know that there's danger ahead. But interestingly enough, on this little one, you can see, the big fat W's and I think there was even more W's over here. If anything, this is the reason why I love W so much, is I just follow the chalk marks. I don't want to debate this. Frankly speaking, fundamentally, we've always made the joke that Cripple is technically, these units are kind of worthless. But it's probably a better remittance platform than even Bitcoin because it's so fast. So who knows? They have like 100 billion, 100 trillion coins out. If this thing doubles, is that like the net worth of an entire country in one go? I don't know. But the point of the matter here is, W's are W's are W's. We can probably start doing things like Foggin bombs to the upside here. And interesting enough, 2.618. So the market's trying to telegraph that it wants to confirm this massive W. And then if it does confirm that massive W, well, then where the heck do we have to look next? Holy crap. All the way up here. So in essence, at 49 cents, if we break out through this double bottom, then what the market's saying is it wants to double. And of course, I've shown you plenty of times that this is no accident that these kind of setups set up. I don't know whether this thing can really get up here efficiently and easily. Only time will tell. All I'll say is I'm long off the W, and wish me luck. It's a trader's life. You just don't know what the hell's going to happen. Let's see how we're doing on the crude. Yeah, there it is. See, here's a good example of why you don't just have that noob stop, because you would have been, boom, gone. See you later. I still got my stops down here, so all of this kind of stuff, that's just fluff. Anyway, it's such a good analogy. It's just a trader's life. You never know what the hell's going to happen. Just trade your setups and live by the sword and die by the sword. I guess the whole point of that rant was Bitcoin looking a little heavy. And I think we even, on that Wednesday show, Paul likes to look at the dominance. And I think it did look like Bitcoin was maybe getting up to the top end of the range. I thought I had the dominance on here. No, it's not on here. What is going on? All right. I think it's just BTC.D, isn't it? Something like that. Is that it? Yeah. So could this be a situation where we actually see things like Ripple actually outperform while maybe Bitcoin actually has to take a bit of a pause here? Wouldn't that be an odd situation? Don't see that every day. Frankly speaking, I'm not going to get into the business of predicting. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. It is interesting how there's a bit of an M coming in here. I suppose the break will come when that M actually confirms. You probably want to see a nice close below that level. Sometimes you can get these little stabs below there, kind of like head fakes. So I don't know. All I'll say is that, geez, that's an awfully big one-directional move. Could we take maybe a week or so, or even just a few days? Just clean this up a little bit? I get the impression that's the case. And I noticed there are a few other little names that are perking up. There were some names actually that I even bought recently that seem to be doing pretty well. And what I do is I just step in off the bottom end's range. I like to nibble my way into names. So first nibble always is sort of like, I've got this killer level, Brian's BFF, 78.6s against original W's, and I'll just go in and buy that level as sort of an initial nibble. And then, of course, I want to see, more technical evidence of a bottom. So here's a really good example of one where actually we had a nice little stab, and actually on the higher time frame charts. And this is sort of this anecdote of I really like the idea of accumulating this stuff in here. Of course, through the 2021 market, and you remember Alan on Saturday Night Live, totally, how do you say this? Irresponsible? I think that's probably the word. Irresponsible going on there. And not saying a single thing about, hey, you know what? Maybe buying Doge up at 70 cents is not such a good idea. But, here we are. We've worked our way. This is a log scale. If I change this to just a regular scale, I mean, you can't even see the price down here. So we're basically right back down at the bottom. And I tell everybody on a regular basis, you should anticipate 38.2 bounces. Kind of like what you're seeing out of the corn here right now. There is actually 38.2 of this 52-week range. Let's see if we can just show you that. Right there, and that's that level, and oh gee whiz, look what just happened. So I mean, this is actually stunningly cliche if you can see the chart there, that you should expect these 52-week 38.2 kind of bounces. It's just what happens. So I don't know whether I would look 52-week, actually that would be sort of in here. That would maybe paint a bounce up into this area. If I'm long from like $9, I got to move up to 20. Brian's going to be selling halves on doubles, all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line here for this entire range, I mean, this is 170 and they brought it all the way back down to single digits. So 30, I feel very comfortable if I can just go in and nanny nibble my way in here. Just accumulate. If I get the little pops, all right, fine, sell halves on doubles, and then maybe I'll work second cars, third cars, whatever. But down the road, I feel very confident that we rally up into this window at some point down the road, just not today. So that's the kind of thing that I'm more than happy to go and start nibbling away on. And actually, I did do a little bit of buying here recently on that one. That's the kind of market it is. 2023 is an accumulation year. That's the way I've been saying this all along here. There is the day trading, and I think, to keep yourself busy while you're waiting for that next big crypto bull market, it's not a bad idea to work on your skill set. Speaking of which, let's see, are we still in here? We're still in here. Yeah, you want to learn how to trade these kind of setups. Like I said, I used to actually work at a prop firm trading this setup on a daily basis. So, I mean, it's just a trader's life. I did see somebody, was a little disappointed. I've known this guy for quite some time. And I think on balance, he's a really, really good proxy for the public. But, and it's kind of weird. I don't know whether I get through to you guys. I know there's some people that have been on the site for like years and they're just not day trading. They're not learning how to trade setups. And they're just like, well, Brian, maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Anyway, this gentleman here, I in fact, actually, the very first time that I did a public presentation of Bitcoin, this guy was there in 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And then he took off to Thailand. I think he lives right around the corner from Julian now. But actually, I was a little disappointed to read this statement. I think we can make money from trading. I really do. I mean, this isn't rocket science. It's just, you have to just learn how to control your behavior. That's all. And then, of course, it kind of helps to have like a guide like, well, Brian, I don't even know what the hell to do. Well, maybe come on over, consider joining TRI, and we'll teach you how to build your small business of trading. And there's a million different ways to play this. This just happens to be one particular setup. I mean, I like it. It works for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's your setup. In fact, I think as I've shown you guys, like, if, for the boot camps and stuff like that, you can see, look at all the different trading plans I have. So hell, I mean, I've got an algo here that's just chomping on the bit to get back in on the buy side of Bitcoin, but it was told to hop off on the sidelines. So, whether it be swing trading, day trading, position trading, I think you can keep yourself busy and actually make money from trading while we wait for the next big face rip insane Bitcoin bull. And if anything, like I've said before, if I get any kind of weakness in this kind of market, pullbacks are buying opportunities I want to accumulate. But I'm not really in a big hurry. And if I was sitting there like my net worth is all in Bitcoin and I'm waiting for the next big bull market, well, yeah, there's nothing to do. Go out and ride your bike and just kick back and relax. Because I get the distinct impression Bitcoin's actually got to take a bit of a pause here. Okay, so kind of a weird start here today. I don't know whether I did you guys any justice or not. Talked a little bit about the news, but frankly speaking, I didn't see a lot in the news to get me excited. Unfortunately, a lot of, and I guess pretty typical of news these days, but a lot in the news to really kind of depress the hell out of you. Just slow and steady wins the race. If anything, try not to get too wrapped up in the and this is sort of like, why on earth, like I just didn't understand this the other day, that this clown, he's a journalist, is coming out and now telling us about the US dollar and US dollar policy going forward. I mean, what the fuck? And what I was really surprised at, to be perfectly honest with you, was how Caitlin, who I think is actually a pretty smart cookie, she's starting to get wrapped up in this. And I even, like, she was tweeting out, and that my response to her is, surely you can't be serious. And Caitlin's even a banker. I don't want to start down this road again, but I find it hilarious when people start talking about this idiot on the screen right there, that dickhead, is going to be, you're going to trust him to put all like the money that you have to work in the market. You're going to trust him with your money? You got to be kidding me. I would much rather trust a guy like Jerry Powell than a guy like him. I mean, that's not even a debate. That's ridiculous. But anyway, it's here and there. Let's see. So that's your news. Econs, as I kind of said, a little bit of a light day econ-wise. I think, if anything, we talked about this yesterday. I don't know whether I talked about it in the free show or not, but just sort of wind up this free show here today. I think that what's going on here is the tech stocks, of course, they spat out some very, very powerful bullish key reversal signals. In fact, off our signals pages, I was going through this with the site people yesterday. Some really interesting signals. But, we had, I think I had talked about this with the public. Quite surprising. Amazon, bullish key reversal, FedEx, Lam Research is semiconductor, QQQs, that's a big tech index. A lot of really big, fat, bullish signals coming out of the market there. And the market jumped up quite a bit. It's interesting here how actually I saw J.P. Morgan even upgraded this stock, Bombardier. So clearly the screener seeing the behavior in the price. Obviously, they saw that this was coming down the pike. And usually, that's what happens in the market when it's not news that these big firms are going to upgrade and downgrade stocks. So I guess just the point I would just make is that maybe all of this bullishness was just maybe a little too much, a little too far, a little too fast. And so you're kind of seeing NASDAQ here is calming down here a little bit, while the Dow, brick and mortar, all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of the banking crisis, which really wasn't a crisis, it was just SVB got caught with their pants down. And ironically enough, just very typical for crypto. Crypto goes up and down like a horse drawers. It's just when crypto goes up, everybody just assumes that it's going to stay up. And it never does. It usually does a 70-80% correction. And just like Simon Dixon has been telling you for 10 bloody years, when Bitcoin corrects 80%, get in there and buy it because that's a buying opportunity. And that's my whole premise. Bitcoin has come off, so 70-80%. So pullbacks are buying opportunities. The only problem is people like Silvergate and SVB to a certain degree, because actually Circle's a huge chunk of their money was in there. They didn't bother hedging their portfolio at all. They didn't. They just took ridiculous amount of risk in the marketplace, and they got caught. So that's sort of what I'm seeing happening in the market. Anyway, so I don't think you're going to be driving your Lambos next week if you are a crypto kid. But at the same time, too, it's sort of like I'm saving up all my Lambo purchasing money and slowly going in and acquiring names one by one, going very slowly, nanny nibbling my way along here. You can see I have lots of notes. And actually, like I said, look at that XLM. Geez, that chart just looks so pretty. So I'm acquiring. I think that's about the bottom line. I am buying. I am doing what I said. I'm following my trading plan. So ironically enough, exact same kind of conversation here. This is for the day traders of the world. I'm just following my plan. In fact, actually, 1, 2, 3. I think we could, why don't we leave the video off? I'm going to give myself a treat and lock in a little bit more profits. Way to go, Brian. You're awesome. All right, everybody. Have yourselves a great day. I don't know whether that was a report of any serious value for you today, but really good illustration. A lot of times I tell you, in hindsight, the bot set up, or hey, look what I did, or hey, this is potentially setting up. This is a really cool example today because it actually, you see the trade in midstream. I mean, this is basically a trader's life. I don't know what's going to happen here, but, according to my setup, I'm actually allowed to lock in some profits, so at least I'm not going to lose money on the day. And really, probably the best thing for me to do is just don't tinker with this. I've got my order to take profits at my profit objective. Nice 3-to-1 risk reward. And just live with the results. So, all right, let's head on over. Sjord, you ready to rock this thing? Let's see if Sjord's
Yes, I am.
Hey, there he is. Awesome. All right, so have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Hugs and kisses. Come on over for a big dose of Pennacooks, if you like, in the Daily Brief after party. Other than that, the only thing left for us is bye for now.